Up, making sure everything is absolutely perfect this whole time, but we're ready to go. Let's go. We're going. Welcome in. I wouldn't call this an official episode of First and State. I'm missing my co-host Jamal Ellerby today, so this is just me. I'm on spring break. I felt like doing the show, so we're doing it. I'm just going to be talking basketball. I usually go 30 minutes from 2:30 to 3 o'clock, but as you can see, it's only 11:14 in the morning. Uh, yeah, so let's get the show on the road. I'm just going to be previewing tonight's NBA games and then just talking about some general topics. So, well, I'm attending the Sixers Magic game later, so I'll get to that. But I'm going to start with the Bulls and Pacers tonight. So, oh, by the way, I was recommended to get some props for the show. So, the prop of the day today is the LeBron 7. These shoes have seen some miles. These are from 2009, so you could only imagine the amount of games I've played in them. These were actually not even my shoes originally. They were handed down from a friend of mine. Shout out to Mason Meany. Hopefully he's watching. But yeah, we're going to get right into the show. We got comments on the Instagram, people joining. I want to see a lot of comments. I need some feedback. I need some topics. I want you guys to disagree with me so that we can talk about it. But yeah, without any further ado, because that was a lot. Chicago Bulls versus Indiana Pacers tonight. That's the first game I see. Look, the Bulls, obviously they're tanking this year. They're going to be really good in a couple of years with the young core they have. Lauri Markkanen. Chris Dunn is a very good player that they got from the Timberwolves. Zach LaVine is a star. So I need to make sure I pay attention to those comments. But again, the Bulls are tanking, so I don't expect them, I don't think they're really trying to win every game. But with that being said, they've been playing really well lately. I think it's pretty ironic that the game of the year just happened between two of the worst teams in the NBA. The Hawks and the Bulls just went to fourth overtime the other day, which is that's ridiculous. Hello, Alexa. And yeah, I don't understand how the game of the year took place between two of the worst teams in the NBA. But look, these teams are going to be really good in a couple of years, both the Hawks and the Bulls. But the Bulls are playing the Pacers tonight. Look, the Pacers, I cannot believe that they're still in the 3 seed. I really can't. They lost their best player, Victor Oladipo, about a month ago. So they've been without their best player, and this entire time they've retained the 3 seed in the East, which is really impressive to me. But with that being said, I do not think that they're going to keep it. I think the Sixers are going to move into that 3 spot, and the Pacers are going to fall down into the 4 spot. It's tough to say right now whether the Pacers will stay in the top 4 and get home court advantage. But, it'll be interesting to see because it's tough to say the Pacers' future right now. They're a good team. They're always really well coached. And they play really hard. They're a very tough opponent. They took the Cavs last year with LeBron James to 7 games. So, I mean, the Pacers are obviously definitely making the playoffs. But with that game tonight, I think I'm going to roll with the Chicago Bulls. I don't see the Pacers they're not going to continue winning the way they are without their best player. I know they're still a very good team. I believe Miles Turner is leading the league in blocks, but I don't see it. They got Tyreek Evans. They have a lot of good players, but they don't have anyone amazing. Their best player, he's not going to be back till next year, so I don't see the Pacers doing anything in the playoffs this year. I see them losing in the first round. But it won't be easy. It will not be easy to beat them. So that brings me to the next matchup. We're going to go with the Orlando Magic and 76ers. That game's taking place in Philly tonight. I'm actually going. It's my second game I'm going to this year. I saw the Pelicans play earlier this year. Somehow Joel Embiid shut down Anthony Davis in that game that I went to. It was over Thanksgiving break, I believe, back in November, late November. So Magic Sixers tonight. The Magic, I think, are the 6 seed right now, 6 or 7 seed in the East. The Sixers are currently the 4. I think they're 2 games ahead of Boston. So I think the Sixers can and should win tonight, despite having their 2 big men. Despite having their 2 big men out tonight. So Joel Embiid still out, still has a bad knee. even though he decided to play in the All-Star game. Didn't really like that. A lot of Philly fans didn't. But Boban is also out. He had the knee injury. It's not a serious one, so he'll be right back. But we'll be without our two big men tonight. So the new guy, as he's been doing lately, is going to have to step up. Jonah Bolden, the guy that came over in the Jimmy Butler trade from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So if Jonah Bolden can keep up the tough play and just log in some good hard minutes on both ends of the floor, especially on defense, because our defense is really suffering without Embiid and Boban. The Sixers, when they're at their full strength with the entire roster, I think they could be one of the best, if not the best, defensive teams in the league. So the way I see it, the Sixers win tonight, but it's going to be very close because the Orlando Magic, they are no slouches. Aaron Gordon is a very good player. Vucevic made the All-Star team. Fournier is a really good player. Jonathan Isaac is becoming a very good player. Kevin Durant actually shouted him out last week, said they have a really good one in Jonathan Isaac. So the Magic have a lot of good players. They have a lot of like B plus guys, but they don't have any superstars, again, similar to the Pacers. So we'll see if the Magic could possibly, I guess we could call it an upset if they win in Philly tonight. Again, I think the Magic are the 6 or 7 seed, which is a little surprising to me. I didn't think they would be that good. But the Magic are pretty solid. I believe Steve Clifford is their coach. He coached the Hornets to the playoffs a couple times in the last couple years. Solid coach. Steve Clifford is a good coach. I like him. So I'm going to go with the Sixers. I'm going to say they win by about 5 to 7 points, give or take. I'll be there. I'm very excited. This is actually my second time seeing the Magic against the Sixers. I saw the Magic play last year. The Sixers won, but they did not have Ben Simmons. But they did have Embiid. So tonight it'll be opposite. They do have Simmons. They don't have Embiid. And yeah, they have all these new guys trying to gel together. Tobias Harris, he's been playing great lately. He rolls out of bed and scores 20 points. Mike Scott, another new addition from the Clippers, excellent shooter off the bench. He has good size. Who else? There's just a lot of good players on the Sixers. I know that they lost Landry Shamet, but like I said, Mike Scott helps replace his shooting. And the rotation is it's getting better and better. I think it's going to improve a lot. Jimmy Butler still needs to figure out his role a little bit better within the lineup because, he's not taking enough shots. He needs to be taking like 15 shots a game. Jimmy Butler's a very talented scorer. So the Sixers have to make sure that the ball finds him and that he gets good shots from his spots rather than just looking at the comments, rather than just getting like a cut and a pass here and there and then finishing the game with 12 points. We didn't bring Jimmy Butler here to finish the game with 12 points. So it all starts with defense. You got to turn the defense into offense. And I know Butler is a top perimeter defender in the league, a top two-way player. So again, I'm really happy the Sixers got him. And I think the Sixers are in great hands going into the playoffs. Again, they're the 4 seed right now. So if the playoffs started today, they would get home court advantage. But if they started today, they would be playing Boston, which still appears to be the only team that the Sixers cannot beat. So that remains to be seen. Final answer, the Sixers are going to win tonight against the Magic in a close one. Next up, national game on TNT, we have the Rockets and the Raptors. This is a very interesting one. Now, I have to disagree with all these people that think James Harden is way ahead in the MVP race. To me, that's an absolute joke. Yes, I know he's averaging 36 points, so of course he's in the conversation, and he's brought the Houston Rockets, I think they're the 4 seed in the West now, if I'm not mistaken. And Chris Paul missed 17 games, so, you have to give Harden credit. Capella missed time as well, and they've had a lot of rumors going on, a lot of talk about they're not as good this year without Trevor Ariza leading the way on defense. So we'll see if the Rockets can keep it going. The Raptors, though, so I think I should mention this game's being played in Canada, in Toronto. Look, it all depends on whether or not Kawhi Leonard decides to play. I am disgusted at the fact, and I think all Spurs fans would be too, that Kawhi Leonard just decides to sit like half the games so he can rest. He is perfectly fine. He's not injured at all. This is why guys like Skip Bayless, he's always making ridiculous points, being unfair. But I can totally get it about the Spurs fans being upset that Kawhi Leonard might have like embellished how bad his injury was or the injury at all. So, Kawhi Leonard, some people think he gave up on the Spurs last year. That's debatable. There's no way to find out now. But look, the Raptors, when Kawhi Leonard is on the floor, dude, to me, they can beat anybody. Early on in the season, I saw Kawhi Leonard guarding Kevin Durant in the matchup against Golden State, and Kawhi Leonard was stealing it from Durant. He was doing everything for this team. He was hitting clutch shots, mid-range, three-pointers. He was getting to the basket, getting to the free throw line. He was distributing. And Kawhi Leonard, this Toronto Raptors team does not start and end with Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, this team is very deep. It's a very good team. I have to get to Pascal Siakam. Siakam, a big man on the Raptors, he's like a 3-4, stretch 4. He can hit the three-point shot. Pascal Siakam is the most improved player this year. There's nobody else that deserves it over him. There are other guys that could be in the conversation. I heard actually D'Angelo Russell added himself to the conversation yesterday for most improved player, but that's another topic for another time because I think Russell was pretty solid last year. But Siakam, he has doubled his points and rebounding from last year. I need to verify that and make sure. But a couple weeks ago, I was looking at his averages, and he scores like twice as many points a game as last year. He had like 10 or 11 points a game last year. This year, it's like 18, 19. He averaged about 4 or 5 rebounds a game last year. This year, it's like about 7 or 8. And they're winning. I think they're the 2 seed in the East right now behind Milwaukee. We'll get to Milwaukee, but tonight in Canada, in Toronto, you got the Rockets versus the Raptors. I think it all comes down to Kawhi Leonard. I think if Kawhi Leonard plays, then the Raptors should and can win this game. I don't see why they wouldn't. They can match up really well with the Rockets. And the Rockets have to travel all the way through Canada. No one wants to go and play in Toronto for an away game. You have to go through customs. It's this whole thing. But, hey, James Harden's determined on getting MVP, so maybe he'll drop 40. I think the Raptors' strategy should be to shut down James Harden any way they can and to make the Rockets beat them. So that's Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, Chris Paul if he's playing, because I know he's still got the bad hamstring, and PJ Tucker, very important player. If you're the Raptors, you want to make the Rockets try and beat you, not let James Harden beat you, because he'll get to the foul line all night long. He'll get every single foul call, and guarding him is pretty much impossible because you either foul him and he gets free throws, which he's a great free throw shooter, or you don't foul him and then he scores. So if I'm the Raptors, I make everyone except James Harden try and beat me. So I'm rolling with the Raptors tonight. Also a close one. But that brings us to our next one. I don't want to spend too much time on that. The Portland Trail Blazers are heading to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies now. The Grizzlies are actually in the running to get the first pick in the NBA draft coming up, but that does not mean the Memphis Grizzlies are not a very good, very talented team. So as we know, Mike Conley, he's an all-star caliber player, excellent point guard. He's still in the prime of his career, in my opinion. I know he's getting up there, probably, I think 32, 33 years old. I think he's still in the prime of his career. Great basketball player, high basketball IQ. I know they lost Marc Gasol, but the team was actually having problems with Marc Gasol chemistry-wise. So they brought in Jonas Valanciunas from the Raptors, the Memphis Grizzlies did, and I think he's ready to play hard. He's been in the playoffs before, and I think he's really going to help them. Another guy Memphis has is Joakim Noah. A lot of people haven't heard his name in a while, but Joakim Noah has actually been playing some very solid minutes for this team. I don't believe he's averaging a triple-double, but or not a triple-double, excuse me. I don't believe he's averaging a double-double, but he's very close, and I've seen him log very good minutes when I do watch the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies have a lot of young talent as well, starting with Jaren Jackson Jr., of course, the rookie. So the Portland Trailblazers, I know they're a very good team, but they cannot take the Grizzlies lightly when they head into FedEx Forum tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. So as for the Portland Trailblazers, as we know, Damian Lillard is a bad man, as Stephen A. Smith says. He is a bad man. And C.J. McCollum out of Philadelphia, he's an excellent player too. The Portland Trailblazers just added Enes Kanter from the New York Knicks. That's a good addition. Rodney Hood, he just had his career game the other night. I think he hit like 7 for 10 three-pointers, which is amazing for Rodney Hood. If anyone watched him on the Cavaliers, it would have taken a miracle for him to put up numbers like that. So look, the Portland Trailblazers they should be able to win this game, but it's on the road. The Grizzlies are better than a lot of teams think. And the Portland Trailblazers, they do want to get a good seed in the playoffs this year. So I'm pretty sure the Blazers are a 3 seed. And last year they got swept by the Pelicans in the playoffs when they still had Boogie, except Boogie wasn't playing. So, you got to do better than that if you're the Portland Trailblazers. They're like a 55-win team. So I don't see any reason why they shouldn't go and beat the Grizzlies tonight, but wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies come away with that. I, too, think that's going to be a close one. I see no reason why that would be a blowout either way, unless the Trailblazers just decide to take the night off. I did read a couple weeks ago that the Portland Trailblazers, they travel way more, like flying miles-wise, they travel way more than any other team in the NBA, and I'm sure that takes a toll on them. So another away game for them, road trip for the Portland Trailblazers, but I think they can get it done. I'm going to pick the Trailblazers to win this game by just a couple points. I think that one's going to be close too. I think every one of these games tonight is going to be close. How much time are we at? Do I have any comments to answer? Hello. This is going to go on YouTube. I have Instagram Live up here. I got Facebook Live right here. I'm recording in general over here. I have my NBA schedule over here, so I'm all set up. I got my props in the back. Got the Allen Iverson, Michael Jordan poster autographed by Iverson for Christmas. Big thanks to my parents on that one. And got the Michael Jordan poster. I'm not sure I don't think that autograph's real. Otherwise, it would be locked up. But back to the matchups. We have 2 more games happening tonight. So we have the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Oh, we have a comment. Hold on. Bucks or Raptors in a 7-game series, Andre? Dude, that's a really tough one. But to be honest with you, I think those are the top 2 teams in the East right now. I'll get right back to this because the Celtics are going to play the Warriors tonight. But Bucks or Raptors in a 7-game series? Wow, that's really hard. I'm assuming it would be the Eastern Conference Finals because they're not going to play each other in the first or second round based off of seeding because they're the 1 and 2. But look, I can't go either way. I think with the addition that the Bucks got the other day, so the Spurs, they bought out Pau Gasol. Look, I know Pau Gasol is an older guy. He's 39 or 40 years old now, but he's still a very good player. He can shoot the outside shot. He's a big man who can get rebounds, protect the rim. And the Bucks added him within like 45 minutes or an hour of the Spurs buying him out. The Bucks want to win now. And they know Giannis wants to win now. With that being said, Giannis is my pick for MVP. It's really hard for me not to pick Paul George right now with what he's done to help the Thunder. But Giannis is the only superstar on his team, and they're the number 1 team in the East right now. So I think the Bucks are going to win the East this year, as tough as that is for me to say. Coming from a Sixers fan, the Sixers, they added a lot of excuse me, I can't talk right now. The Sixers added a lot of talent right before the trade deadline with, Tobias Harris, Boban, Mike Scott. Just the lineup on both sides is way better, but I don't think the team has had enough time to gel and get ready for the playoffs. Maybe I'm wrong. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played. I think the Sixers have about 18 or 19 games left in the regular season, but I don't know because, Toronto is playing great as a team with or without Kawhi Leonard. I know I said earlier it all depends on Kawhi Leonard being there, whether they win tonight. But this team plays very well without Kawhi Leonard. So honestly, I have to pick the Bucks in a 7-game series, Andre. I would go 7 games. I think Giannis, excuse me, it's that coffee. Giannis, Chris Middleton. They added Mirotic at the trade deadline, which was huge for them. Mirotic had been playing excellent alongside Davis on the Pelicans. They got Pau Gasol. Look, Giannis is the best player on the team, and he's also the worst shooter on the team. How is the best player on the team the worst shooter on the team? That means Giannis is surrounded by shooters. If Giannis could average like 8 assists a game or so throughout the playoffs, then I don't see anybody beating them, because you have to give Giannis all the attention as he drives in. You have to put 2 guys on him, or he's just going to get to the rim like it's nothing. So there's going to be somebody open, and he's going to kick it out to the shooters. And like I said, everyone on his team is as good or a better shooter than him. He's surrounded by shooters. And the Bucks have an excellent coach. They added Coach Budenholzer, who had previously it's 4 years ago now, so it's not that ancient history, but Coach Budenholzer coached the Atlanta Hawks to the best record in the NBA in 2014-15. The Atlanta Hawks. So that was not by accident. Coach Budenholzer, in my opinion, is a top coach in the NBA. I think he's in the running for Coach of the Year. Thanks for your question, Andre, but I'm going to get back to this other matchup tonight. That's my answer, though, Bucks in 7, because I just don't think the Raptors will do it. So next matchup we have tonight, the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The game will be played in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. But look, and Jamal thinks I'm crazy for this. I said it 2 weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago. The Oklahoma City Thunder have the best shot out of anyone in the entire NBA of taking down Golden State this year, in my opinion. Nobody can match up with the Oklahoma City Thunder, or nobody can match up with Golden State the way Oklahoma City can. And they haven't even got Andre Robertson back. So with that being said, Russell Westbrook has accepted his role way better than I could ever imagine this year. He took a slight step back. He's letting Paul George do a lot of the scoring, because Paul George is a top scorer in the NBA, obviously. They must have had a great conversation in the summer before Paul George decided to stay, which no one thought he would do. But I'm going with the Thunder tonight because I just don't think the Timberwolves have that closer anymore. They lost Jimmy Butler. I know Karl Anthony Towns has been playing better since then, but genuinely, I don't think the Timberwolves have it. They have a brand new coach. They fired Coach Thibodeau, who's a great coach in my opinion, and they have Flip Saunders' son coaching the team. I'm pretty sure it's Flip Saunders' son's first job. I can't remember his first name, but I think the Thunder are going to go into Minnesota tonight and absolutely take it to them. I think it'll be kind of close, but I think the Thunder – actually, I noticed the last 2 or 3 games – I think it was the last 2 games, Paul George has not played. I think he has a sore shoulder. So that depends on tonight. If Paul George comes back tonight and plays against the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm rolling with the Thunder all day. If not, I think this game could go either way. I think the Thunder still have a chance if Paul George doesn't play, because the Thunder still have a lot of talent. Like I said, the Thunder can match up with Golden State defensively better than any other team. Well, the Sixers now, but not right this minute. So you have Russell Westbrook. Just picture, real quick, the matchups between Golden State and Oklahoma City if they play each other. Because I think that's the only way to keep Golden State from getting to the finals is if they run into Oklahoma City before they get there. So you have Russell Westbrook probably matched up with Steph Curry. I'm fine with that. You have to live with, Steph Curry shooting those outside shots. Westbrook's a good defender. Robertson is coming back. When he comes back, we know he's known for defense. He's an excellent defender. Right now, Ferguson is he's filling in for Robertson. Ferguson's an excellent athlete. I think he's going to come off the bench when Robertson comes back, but Ferguson has been shooting excellent lately, shooting with confidence. He can also D up, so he's becoming a good 3-and-D player. Jeremy Grant, former 76er, he's becoming an excellent NBA player. He's very valuable and versatile, in my opinion. Two-way player. He's like 6'9". He can shoot the outside shot, the corner three. He can get to the rim, get to the foul line. He's great at playing off of Westbrook and Paul George. He can also run that second unit when George and Westbrook are not in the game. So Jeremy Grant, I think, is an excellent player. So you got Westbrook on Curry. You got either Robertson or Ferguson on Klay Thompson. And then You have Grant, who is he's about 6'9". He's a big body. I think he's going to have to try and guard Kevin Durant. You got to put somebody on Kevin Durant. Probably have to double team him. Draymond Green, you could put whoever on Draymond Green. I don't see him as an offensive threat whatsoever. And then you have DeMarcus Cousins, guarded by Steven Adams. I love Steven Adams. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. I think he should be an all-star. But, hey, you can only have so many all-stars. So Steven Adams, I think Steven Adams gets some of his rebounds stolen by Russell Westbrook. But, again, another topic for another time. And their bench is really good, too. Diallo, he won the dunk contest. Dude can jump out of the gym. He's a good athlete. Nerlens Noel is an excellent addition for this team. And they just got Morris, one of the Morris twins. This Thunder team is equipped with some dogs to go deep in the playoffs, in my opinion. Please comment if you disagree, because I know a lot of people disagree with me. Like I said, Jamal thinks I'm crazy for saying that the Thunder match up and have the best shot against Golden State this year. But with all of that being said, I'm rolling with the Thunder tonight over the Timberwolves, Paul George or not. If there's no Paul George, I think the Thunder win by one score. It comes down to that close of a game. And then that leaves me with one more game to talk about, the other national TV game that's going to be on TNT tonight. Again, I won't be able to watch it, so I'll be at the Sixers game. We have the Boston Celtics taking on the Golden State Warriors. Now, this is an interesting one because the Warriors, they're in the regular season. It's almost like they're bored. It's just too easy for them. How many All-Stars can you have on one team and a Finals MVP, Andre Iguodala? It's just not fair, but like I said, it's the regular season, and they seem bored to me. They've lost some pretty bad games lately. They lost to the Heat on that crazy Dwayne Wade game winner. They just lost to, I think it was Atlanta they just lost to, and I think Golden State lost 3 out of 4 games, which is pretty rare for them. So, I mean, either way, the Warriors could bounce back tonight and make an absolute statement against Boston, since Boston apparently thinks they're going to the finals. I have a secret to tell you. They're not. But yeah, as for the Celtics, they're going into Oracle Arena tonight. They also really need to bounce back and make a statement. They're the 5 seed in the East. They are in danger of slipping even lower than that. So, Kyrie Irving, he's been in the headlines every 5 minutes lately. I don't know if anyone saw, but he was talking to the media the other day, and he was straight up ignoring them or giving them one-word answers to, very open-ended questions, which is just, that's, incredibly immature in my opinion. He goes, I'm here just to play basketball. I don't want to deal with all the media frenzy. Well, guess what, Kyrie? You're getting paid $20 million, so you might have to deal with the media. Sorry. You might have to answer a couple questions. They're paying you $20 million, Kyrie Irving, to play basketball. So, hey, if you put it that way, it makes you look like you're just whining. So I don't know if the Celtics are going to get it together. It's tough to say. Kyrie's still confident that they could beat anybody in 7 games, but I'm not so confident. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both took a step back from last year. I think they're both a little bit overrated because of how they did in the playoffs last year. Yes, they played great in the playoffs last year. That's because they got tons and tons of minutes, and there were absolutely no chemistry problems at all. And there was no Kyrie to just dribble around all day and run the offense. So, Tatum, I believe he averaged 18 points a game in the playoffs last year. He ain't doing that this year. I think Tatum, all he learned from Kobe Bryant in the offseason was how to take more bad shots, if we're being honest. So, if those guys can step up in the playoffs, I think a lot of the Celtics' issues, not that he's not a good player, but I think a lot of them have to do with Gordon Hayward getting so many minutes. I've said this on the show before. Gordon Hayward gets an unbelievable amount of minutes for just coming back off this injury. He probably shouldn't have even come back at the beginning of the season because the injury was that bad. So, as you can see, a perfect example, and I've said this before, Paul George broke his leg really bad in, I think, 2014 or 15. It was Summer Olympic, not the actual Olympics, but it was a practice where he was going up to block Harden, and he broke his leg really bad. It is now 2019, and Paul George is playing the best basketball of his career. It took this whole entire time, 3 years at least, for him to get back to the player that he used to be. And he's still very young. I think Paul George is like 28, 29 years old. Similar thing with Gordon Hayward. Look, he broke his leg last year, first game of the season. I think he was like 2 minutes into the game. He broke his leg. It was really bad. He had a full recovery. Well, I think he had a full recovery, but you're not going to be the same player that you were when you step back onto the court after breaking your leg. Like, you're just not. I know that he healed his leg, but I don't even know if Gordon Hayward's going to be back to his full self next year. So with that being said, I know that Brad Stevens has coached Gordon Hayward all the way back in college, and they have this great relationship. I think Gordon Hayward is a problem for the Celtics, and he needs to come off the bench and get a lot less minutes. Or I just don't know. That Brad Stevens needs to do a little bit of a better job with the rotations with this team. You got guys like Marcus Smart extremely, extremely visibly mad at Jaylen Brown in the middle of the game for not kicking it to him. Marcus Smart saying they're not together and these bad things wouldn't happen if they were together. I am not sold on the Celtics this year. I don't think they can do it. Even though they have Kyrie Irving and they're all healthy, I just don't think they can do it. So, as for tonight though, they need to bounce back. It's a huge game for Boston. I think Boston's going to keep it close in the first half, but I think Golden State's going to run away with this game because Golden State hasn't been playing that amazing lately either. And I think Golden State wants to hang on to the 1 seed. I know the Nuggets are right behind them in the 2 seed, and they really want to get that 1 seed to get home court advantage throughout the playoffs. And let me say one more thing about the Nuggets. The Nuggets really want home court advantage throughout the playoffs because their home court advantage is like a super home court advantage. The reason I say that is because, and it's a big reason why the Nuggets are winning so many games this year. I think the Nuggets are slightly overrated, but they're still a very good team. The Nuggets play 9 or 10 guys every game, so those guys have a lot more energy than these teams coming in to play them, and they play like 7 or 8 guys against them. The Nuggets play like 10 or 11 guys, and they're all fresh, and the other team is completely winded and tired by like the third quarter. So I think the Nuggets have a super home court advantage. I think they're determined to get the 1 seed. I think they feel like everyone's counting them out because, they're the Nuggets. I'm not sold on the Nuggets. I don't care if the Nuggets went undefeated this regular season. I am not sold on the Nuggets. They have nobody that's been in the playoffs. They have Kyle Korver's on the Jazz. I can't mix those up. They just had Isaiah Thomas come back, who is the one guy that's actually been in the playoffs. Hold on. Oh, my sister said she can't hear, but it's only because she's in school. I thought I was having technical difficulties. That would have been bad because I've been going for like 32 minutes. Wow. What was I just talking about? I was just talking about the Nuggets. So the Nuggets, they haven't even had Michael Porter Jr. come back. The Nuggets are going to have a huge boost whenever Michael Porter Jr. comes back. I think that's going to be the beginning of next year. Even though he appears to already be healthy, even though he literally came back from injury and played in the college tournament last year, and he's still being held out for this whole entire season. So I know he's going to be 100% when he comes back next year. But we're talking about this year. So the Nuggets got Isaiah Thomas. He's finally back. It's also looking really good. If Isaiah Thomas can play as well as he did when he was on Boston, that last playoff run they had, which I don't think he can, but if he does, then the Nuggets might be legit. Again, it's only a 5'9" guy trying to take on the entire Western Conference, but look, Isaiah Thomas defied the odds before. He averaged 30 points a game. 30 points a game as a 5'9" guy, so I'm not going to count out Thomas just yet. I think he thinks he has a lot to prove, and I know he wants to get that bag and get that big contract after this year or next year, so I know he's going to be doing every single thing in his power to be playing well and stay healthy. And yeah, that's all the games going on tonight. So just some general talk. You guys should leave some comments if you want me to cover any. Andre said, would the 76ers be better without Embiid? I totally disagree. I think the 76ers are way better when they have Embiid. He is the anchor of their whole entire defense. The team cannot play defense without him. Boban filled in really good for him for a couple games. But I think half of that is just him being huge and 7'3" and like the biggest man in the NBA. But Embiid is our absolute anchor on defense, our rim protector. I just don't think we can win sustainably without Joel Embiid at all. He's our best player. And him and Simmons play real well off each other. Him and Butler, they're going to figure it out. And I think him and Tobias are going to be an absolute tandem together. Tobias is like 6'9", and he can get his shot anywhere. He can shoot from three. I think him and Embiid, since Tobias is such a good shooter, I think that whole lineup, once they gel together, they're going to be really hard to stop. I don't want to say unstoppable, but I can't see anyone in the East beating us once we figure it all out with all the talent we have. I think that the Sixers have the best starting lineup. Excluding Golden State, I think the Sixers have the most talented starting lineup in the NBA. It's just a matter of putting it all together. And I think it comes down to Coach Brett Brown. Honestly, I think he's our biggest weakness in the playoffs. That doesn't mean I don't like Brett Brown. I think he's a great guy, great coach. I love the way he coaches. But the way that the 76ers managed their late possessions in the playoffs last year, especially against Boston, was absolutely pathetic. They're like, your late game situation handling is just, you can't have Ben Simmons like having to take a long jump shot when the game is on the line and Ben Simmons can't shoot. Got to figure something out with that play calling. You got to figure out where to put Embiid. You got to get Embiid the ball. So, but I like Brett Brown a lot. He's a descendant of Coach Popovich, who I think is the greatest coach of all time. So I have faith in Brett Brown. I think they're going to figure it out in these playoffs. But I don't know if they can beat the Raptors. I don't know if they can beat the Bucks. I have the Bucks winning the East. And then even though Boston is in shambles right now, even though Boston is in shambles right now, they're having all these chemistry issues, all these problems, all these questions surrounding them. The 76ers have not been able to beat the Boston Celtics whatsoever. I can't remember the last time the Sixers beat the Celtics. I think it was in the regular season last year, which is pathetic because the 76ers played them in the playoffs. And in the playoffs last year, the Celtics were shorthanded and the Sixers still got swept by them. That's not okay with how talented the Sixers are. And with the Sixers, it's not like Simmons and Embiid are our only stars now, who were two young guys last year who they didn't have any playoff experience at all. Now Jimmy Butler is coming in. He has been in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he can close games. Tobias Harris is a super talented player who I don't think hasn't had playoff experience, but I like him in the playoffs. I think he's made of the right stuff to play well in the playoffs. And Mike Scott, shooter off the bench, he had played in the playoffs, I believe actually, I'm not sure. I remember hearing that Mike Scott played in the playoffs before. I'm not sure where he played before the Clippers. I want to say the Hawks, but they didn't make it. I'm not exactly sure where Mike Scott played, but I know that he is also made of the right stuff. That brings me back to tonight. The Sixers, they're playing the Magic. Look, I don't think the Sixers are going to lose to the Magic tonight without Embiid, but I think it's very possible. It depends how Vucevic and Aaron Gordon take advantage of that. I want to mention Jonah Bolden, the guy that came over in the Timberwolves trade with Jimmy Butler, the big man. He's finally healthy. He had a bad foot, I believe. He's back. He's been filling in for Embiid and Boban the last couple games. He's been playing great minutes, in my opinion. Jonah Bolden is his name. For those of you who haven't heard of him, I feel like there's a lot of people have not heard of him. So look out for Jonah Bolden to have a big night tonight against the Magic. And, yeah, so I'll talk about college basketball for a minute. As some of you may know, I write a blog for the Pac-12 for NBADraft.net. So if you're into the Pac-12 at all, or you want to catch up on the West Coast college basketball, you want to know which players, which prospects are going to be in the draft from the Pac-12 coming up in the draft this year, or any other conference, definitely visit NBADraft.net. My blog is the Pac-12 blog. My buddy Hunter writes for the Big 12, so that's Kansas. They have a blog for every conference, and they have a big draft board so you can see, you can track these prospects, and you can see which guy that you want your team to get, or multiple guys. So I think I'm going to end the show here, guys. We're going on about 40 minutes. I'm going to post this on YouTube. Uh, yeah, I can't believe I just talked for 40 minutes there. It felt like about 5 minutes. Um, so I want to thank everyone for watching. Again, the usual day is Tuesday, which is today for the show, but the usual time is 2:30 to 3 o'clock. So make sure you tune in every Tuesday, 2:30 to 3 o'clock. I'm going to continue to do Facebook Live. I may do Instagram Live next week as well, depending on how difficult the technicals are. And you could also listen on the Com Radio website, Penn State Com Radio. But I will be posting this on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. I'm going to link it after this. And yeah, that's it for the show. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you leave some comments. What should I talk about next time? What should I have not talked about? Anything. So thank you guys for watching.